All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a brother on the line, and I do thank him for not only being in the chat, he had to subscribe in order to even get here. So not only I want to thank you for subscribing to the channel, listening, and you had some thoughts that you had about the particular story that I was doing. Do you kind of want to tell us what your thoughts were or what you disagree with what I was saying?
Well, first of all, let me just say that I do agree with like 95% of the things that you're saying.
Okay.
I just have a problem with this whole Black Lives Matter thing, because I'm usually on Facebook, getting kicked off Facebook, because I'm always arguing with people about whenever something happens in a Black community, that's the first thing white people say, oh, Black lives supposed to matter. Listen, first of all, I think that the whole Black Lives Matter movement is BS, but the sentiment is something I think that we all have. Okay, so just because the organization gets up and the media goes at them and shove cameras in their faces to get their reaction on something that happened with the cops in the community, that's one thing. But how can I defund criminals? How can I defund thugs? I don't buy drugs. I don't do anything. I'm a hardworking guy. I go to work every day, and I take care of my responsibilities. So I don't understand this whole defund thugs, and I don't understand how I'm responsible for the stupidity of Black women who decide to have children with thugs and whose kids terrorize our community.
Ooh.
You understand what I'm saying, Jay?
Yes, sir. Of course. You speak my language, brother, and I like this. And here's the biggest thing that I like. I like the fact that you at least ask, Jay, can you explain what you mean? And that I like, and I can appreciate that. And then from there, maybe we can talk about, okay, I disagree with what you're saying, but I think for now, you just maybe not understand why I said what I said, right?
Right.
Okay, here we go. Why do I say defund thugs? Because I say if they're going to say defund police, which I think is a very stupid thing to even say, it's a dumb concept. Police should actually be paid more, not less. Because when you're talking about incentives, you incentivize something, you're giving people a reason to strive and achieve more and do better in whatever profession it is.
Hold on, before you even go any further, let me explain something to you. I live in New York City, right?
Yes,
New
sir.
York City, the NYPD gets about $1 billion a year. $1 billion, okay? Do you know who they arrest the most? People with mental health conditions. Now, if we can't take $100 million, 10% of what we give the NYPD annually, and put that toward housing and monitoring and medicating mental health people, the same people that cops arrest the most, then we're doing the cops a disservice, because all they're doing, instead of fighting real crime, all they're doing is rearresting and investigating crimes of people that should be already taken care of. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you know how they get their money?
They get it from the government.
Do you know how they qualify to get that money? They vote for it.
Well, that's okay.
So who's responsible for putting the people in office for the things that we're voting for? That's a problem of the people, right?
Yeah, but like I'm saying,
they are only able to allocate those dollars, and I always tell people this, that our government, and I say our because that's an American thing. If you're an American citizen, it affects all of us. Our government can't do anything without our consent, no matter what it is.
You know what it is, though? You know what it is, though? And I'm sure you'll agree with me. The distractions. There's all these other distractions. So when these things come up for vote up in Congress or here in New York and City Hall up in Albany, there's all these other distractions. So we're all distracted about one thing, and they're doing something else.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? That's why I think it's important for us to communicate, for us to have these conversations. So look at it like this. With your phone, with your tablet, you and your community, around your family members, you have a voice. You have a smart voice. And I can definitely tell that this is something you're passionate about. And sometimes it just takes that little bit. When they're talking about community leaders and all of that stuff, it's the only difference is sometimes those people just get up the courage enough, or maybe get their information up enough to the point to go out and speak something and say something very small. And it's just like, wow, like I never thought about it like that. And it can really truly make a difference. But I can address some of the things that you said. So as far as how they allocate that money, all of those things have to be voted on. Whenever they get their mayors, whenever they get their governors, whenever they get their police chiefs, their congressmen, their judges, all of that stuff has to be voted on. Like, I'm the type of person, I've been voting ever since I got my voter's registration. I've been voting. I started out voting in Oklahoma, and then when I moved to Texas, I continued to vote, even in my community, in my city. So even if they have the national election, I'll go vote. If they have the county elections, the city elections, I go vote. I go find out who these people are. Because the people that we're putting in office absolutely makes a difference, because they're going to be the ones that are making the decisions. So look at it like this. Based on what you just said, if those are the people that y'all put in office and that's how they spending y'all money, guess what you do? Next time you voting time come up, you bring up exactly what you just brought up. You get their asses up out of there. You know what? This is how y'all spent our money, our tax dollars. Y'all spent it doing this. Here's how you should have spent it. They can only do what we allow them to do, but they're constantly writing these bills and making these measures, and these things have to be agreed on and voted on. They can't do a damn thing unless we allow them to do it. So whenever we're talking about defunding thugs and defunding the police, the reason why I think the terminology and what they were trying to actually do was get police salaries cut, like pay them less money, but do better at your job. And I asked people, I said, now what if they started doing that at your job? Where you work at? You work at Xerox. Let's just say you work at Xerox and you're making $32 an hour. Shit's going wrong, and whatever product Xerox is pushing out is messing people up out there in the world, is messing up our economy. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you guys to take $17 an hour, but we want you to work twice as hard and push out twice the production.
Yeah, Jay, you know what? I honestly don't think that was the intent. I think that that was what the media ran with to make it sound more dramatic. And not only that, but Jay, and I'm sure because I've lived outside of New York a couple of times in my life, and you know that that in small towns, this is how ticketing people is how they make their money.
Correct.
And a lot of times the cops don't even know the law. They ticket you, and people, just blindly just take the ticket because they don't want to be the next guy getting shot. They don't want to be the next Philando Castile, so they take the ticket.
Yeah.
But my thing is that, like Sandra Bland, there's no reason why that girl got arrested. She should have. Yeah, she was talking shit. Excuse me, I'm sorry. She was talking mess, and the guy should have just. He's a public servant. He should have swallowed his pride, gave her the ticket, gave her the BS ticket, and been on his way. There was no reason for her to get arrested.
Hold on. Here's my thing, because I agree with you, but both things have to occur. So I don't look at it as Sandra Bland. It's like my sister, the black power, my sister. I don't look at it like that. I look at her as if she was my daughter. What would I tell my daughter to do? When I think about if it were my dad telling me, this is why I've avoided some of the lifelong bull crap that I could have actually been going through, because I've never seen my dad never allowed me to be a victim. If I were in a situation, my dad would say to me, he'd say, well, what could you have done different? I'm like, but Dad, all these people ganged up on me. Yeah, but how did you end up in that? And I used to think like, damn, do you not give a damn about like I didn't do nothing wrong? But then I got a bit older, a bit wiser, and it clicked to me, and I said, damn, what he's trying to do is he's trying to make me accountable for my destiny, for the situations that I get myself in. And I say to myself, if I were the father of Sandra Bland, if I could talk to her prior to getting in this situation, or she getting pulled over and she called me on the phone, and I tell her, look, baby, here's what you do. You take that ticket. I don't give a shit if you were wrong. I don't give a damn if that cop was wrong. Guess what we gonna do? We gonna fight it in court. We are not, when they say don't have, so look at it like this. Let's just say that we believe that the majority of police are racist. Here's how I educate black people and how Look, bro, because I come from a bunch of bullcrap that I've caused a lot of harm and hurt that I've caused on myself. And I say to myself, if I didn't put myself in these positions, then we wouldn't end up with a negative result how we got. So what I would tell her is when they say don't fight court in the street, if it's that serious, if you feel like you have a legitimate case, we take the shit to court. And ask yourself, how many times are people taking this thing to court and actually won their cases? I just saw a video come out the other day. Did you see that lady that got choked out and they caught it on police cam?
No.
They took it to court and it was overturned because they tried to say that the lady was wrong. And it was overturned, and I guarantee you she's going to sue and sue big, and she's going to win big because she took it to court.
Jay, my father was the same way. My father was in the Army for 10 years, and it was always accountability. You gotta watch what you're doing out here.
Yeah, right.
And like you said earlier, you know that the court system is racist. It gives black men more time than anything. Yo, stay out of the court system. That's my father's biggest thing.
Right.
I got that.
Right.
My thing is that I work security, right? I've been doing security for like 30 years. Yo, people are entitled. Cops run up against this all the time. I'm sure people, with bad attitudes and not only that, but when you stop somebody in the middle of their life, you don't know what they're going through. Yeah. And a lot of times, cops they're supposed to, because they're public servants, they're supposed to suck up a lot of crap because people are people.
They're supposed to, and they're human too. So they're gonna fail on some emotional fronts, just like we all would, because pressure busts a pipe. You put a person in hot water, and they're not gonna always, and nor do I expect them to always behave in the best manner, but I expect for them to always strive to do what's in our best interest.
Listen, I know you got you have your other stories. So I just want to make this one last point.
Sure.
I think we just, my big thing is we need to stop having people. If you cannot afford to have a baby, you shouldn't have one.
I agree. Yeah.
I think that this is where all of this comes from. If you can't afford to give your child the best things in life right now, doesn't mean you ain't gonna be able to do it in the future, but you shouldn't be having any kids. My daughter's 25. I tell her that all the time. Live your life. You're 25. Go out and see the world before you finally get knocked up. Don't do it now. Right. Anyway, thanks a lot for taking my call.
I could actually answer your other portion of the question, because you were actually asking me, well, how do we defund thugs?
Oh, yeah. I'd definitely like to hear that.
They have incentives. Just like pimps have incentives, thugs have incentives, drug dealers have incentives. Well, if you cut the incentives off, then how do they become what they are? How do they continue being what they are? Perfect example, when you're talking about these thugs, one simple thing that women could do, stop fucking thugs. Why do they be the first ones and get the crack of the ass first? You know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you, man. I worked my way through college. Yo, when I was in college, all the finest chicks in college, they waiting around for the dudes with the gold teeth and the big ass chains to come pick them up in their Range Rovers.
See?
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, bro, it's been happening since I was in middle school. Man, and I went to college. I've seen a lot. I always try to tell my daddy that. I'm like, look, daddy, you got to give me some credit, man. I done seen a lot of things in my short amount of time. But you're talking about not only that. That's a simple thing. The less ass they get, the less incentive they get. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of their motivation and fuel is to really impress somebody. Yeah, they do it sometimes to impress each other, but if they ain't got no girls that's impressed with that type of stuff, impressed with that type of behavior, best believe if women weren't attracted to that, they wouldn't do it. They will go wherever the attraction is.
And the saddest thing is that I think a lot of kids, a lot of young men, they mold themselves into that just to get the attention from girls.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And could you imagine if one of these four knuckleheads did that? Like, they are actually intelligent and they have sense.
Can I go a little bit deeper on you and bring this back full circle?
All right, talk to me.
If the young boys and the young girls got the attention that they desired at home.
Yeah.
We're talking about the source, the root of the problem.
Right.
Could we not help eliminate at least some of these situations if the things that they're lacking in later life they could have got in their early life? Like money,
Right.
like protection, like love, affection, somebody that gives them a listening ear.
Yes.
A lot of these basic things that we take for granted sometimes, if we did that as parents, en masse, could literally lessen a lot of this stuff. And like I said, I'm just really just teaching from a perspective of things that I've seen. Like, you know, not only from coming from a counselor standpoint, but I think it's things that, unless I see that somebody tells me like where it's wrong, I think a lot of these things could actually help. But that's part of when we say defund thugs, even with giving them money or giving them this or giving them that. Like I say, so even like with the rappers, cut these murderous rappers talk about killing each other all damn day. Stop giving them press. Stop giving them money. Stop booking them for shows. Stop signing them to $2 and $3 million contracts and stupid shit.
Yeah, well, you know what?
That's also part of defunding, not supporting it.
That hip hop, not even hip hop, but a lot of that music is for white people. I hate to say it, but I think it's true. I think a lot of that music, because it's not the community's music. It's music that they make for white kids.
But they ain't going out shooting and killing each other indiscriminately like that.
Yeah, well, that's true too. Anyway, all right.
So maybe their brains aren't wired like us. We could just literally be different. You know, we could just be wired differently. So in that case, then if it's only affecting us this way, then I think that's something we should look at, and maybe we should come back to the table and say, you know what, this might not be such a good ass thing to be out here supporting.
Yeah.
Because you remember, I'm a DJ. There's just some shit I ain't gonna play. You ask me to play, and I'm gonna just give you a flat out. There's some stuff people come up and ask me to play, and I'm gonna just flat out tell them no, I ain't playing that.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, bro. But see, I've been booked enough. I can afford to lose some gigs.
Right, I hear you.
But luckily, it doesn't happen often, and I'm glad that the majority of the people that book me are usually my older crowd, my old school crowd. So I usually don't run into a lot of the issues like that.
One more thing, you know, I think if you came from a nuclear family, you know, you probably wouldn't, you know, fall for all of this stuff in the music, because you know you got your father saying, "Man, turn that crap." Cause my pops used to tell me all the time, "Turn that crap down." Mm-hmm. You think, you think this crap is, you think this is real life? Let me tell you what real life is, you know. But we don't have that. A lot of young men don't have that, you know. So the person speaking to them, that's gospel for them, you know. Yeah. Talking about selling drugs and baby mama this and I don't know. It's but like you said, it's the family, it's the father. You need a young man. I was raised with my pops, so I was fortunate.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I just see a lot of value in the nuclear family, and really the what I call a social construct, because that's all really marriage is. It's just a social construct. But I think it's the actions behind it, the way that we used to conduct business. I think that trend was way better for us than the way that we're going now, trying to operate outside of that, trying to have kids outside the home, trying to have kids here and there and still be a father with one kid on one side, one kid on the other side, and all this child support and all, you know what I'm saying? It's such a harder way to go. And I don't see it as it being a productive thing. It hasn't proven to be a productive thing in the past 30 years, 40 years, actually.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, man, I definitely appreciate, you know, you coming in. But and I hope this serves as a lesson to people that want to come out and challenge the things that I say, because sometimes we might not be on the same page, but my whole goal is to make sure that I can try to get us on the same page if I can, or maybe I can just really understand where you're coming from. Maybe there's a perspective that I'm missing, and I absolutely welcome that at any time. So I'm definitely honored to have your perspective on things.
Well, I appreciate that, man. And thank you for everything you do. And have a good night, man.
Brother, it's a pleasure. Cliff, man, thank you so much for coming on.
All right. Later.
All right, let me go ahead.